Second. 6. You see my living Amuna?
What?
Is my living Amuna in there in the kitchen? 6.
See,
Huh?
don't see.
Uh-oh.
On the bed.
I see it. It's over here.
Okay, Rebbe, we're live. Rebbe can start whenever.
Okay, 1 second. Got it. Go ahead. Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit about a little bit about the Chofetz Chaim, Tzaddik Levracha. Right. At one point, the Chofetz Chaim actually decided that he was going to move to Eretz Yisrael. He thought that coming to Eretz Yisrael he could help bring the Geula. He tried to keep it as quiet as possible, but eventually his townspeople in Radin found out that he had plans to move to Eretz Yisrael, and they begged him not to. They begged him to stay in Radin. He said they need him over there. They need him over there. And he wasn't exactly sure what he should do, but he decided that now he's going to Eretz Yisrael. He's going to help. He wants to try to bring the Geula. He's going to come to Eretz Yisrael. That was the Chofetz Chaim's decision. And then his wife took sick. His wife got ill. So he stopped everything. To him, that was a siman. That was a sign from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he's not meant to go to Eretz Yisrael. And he stayed in Radin. We know in Radin he wrote many Sforim. He had Klal Yisrael on his shoulders the whole time in Radin. Okay. When he was ready to print the Mishnah Brura, so he at that time was in the throes of poverty. He had very, very little money, and he really lacked the funds to publish the Sefer. And then one thing after another happened, which prevented this forum, the Mishnah Brura, from being printed. One thing after another. I don't know. I'm looking at Living Emunah 6. Living Emunah 6, page 234. It doesn't say here what exactly happened, but there were one obstacle after another. And it seemed like it would be very, very difficult to print the Mishnah Brura, right? But the Chofetz Chaim declared out loud, he said, Satan, the Yetzer Hara, you're not going to stop me. I don't care how many obstacles you put in my way, I'm going to print the Mishnah Brura. The more obstacles, the more I'm going to fight, right? And his son said that from then on, there were no further obstacles. His son writes that the Yetzer Hara dropped the fight because it knows that the reward is equal to the efforts expended. Had the Yetzer Hara continued to fight, the Chofetz Chaim would have redoubled his efforts to publish the Sefer, and that would elevate further the Zechuyot and for Klal Yisrael. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's turn that. So, right. So eventually he had a lot of obstacles, but eventually he fought and he was able to print the Mishnah Brura. So the rabbi's son, Aryeh Leib, Rabbi Aryeh Leib, asked, I know who asked it, but he answered it. Why was it when it came to moving to Eretz Yisrael, he saw the illness of his wife to be a simon from Hashem, and he changed his mind about coming to Eretz Yisrael and remained in Radin? And why was it when the obstacles came one after another with the Mishnah Berurah, he said, I'm going to fight, I'm going to do it no matter what, nothing's going to stop me. Now, why in one case, he reconsidered, and the second case, he just put up a bigger fight, right? So you probably have your own answers, and you're probably correct, right? But what his son explained was the following. He wasn't sure whether it was the right thing to do or not to come to Eretz Yisrael. The people in Radin argued with him that they need him there. He can't leave. It's so important for him to stay there. He can't leave them alone without him. Right. On the other hand, he had hoped to be able to bring the Gula, to help bring the Gula in Eretz Yisrael. But he was unsure. He was uncertain. So when his wife became ill, he took that's a simon from Hashem. Hashem is telling me he doesn't want me now to move to Eretz Yisrael. He wants me to remain in Radin. But when it came to printing the Mishnah Berurah, a sefer, his son said a sefer, he said, that would help Klal Yisrael understand how they should live their daily lives according to Halacha. That's the Mishnah Berurah. How to live our daily lives according to Halacha. He said that he had no suffix. He knew that was what Klal Yisrael needed. He was absolutely sure. And therefore, any obstacle is directly from the Yisara. Any obstacle is directly from not from Hashem. And he's going to have to fight it with all his kaiches, and he had it printed. It's an obvious difference. But it's something that we always have to be aware of. We have in our own lives, and we have in Tisha B'Av. In our own lives and in Tisha B'Av. We have obstacles. We have things that block us. Right? And we have to know where we can be absolutely certain that this is the Ratzon Hashem, then we have to fight with all our keiches and not hesitate for a moment. That's what we can learn from these stories. Not to hesitate, but to fight with all our keiches. Right? That those, as I say, in our everyday lives and in our preparation for Tisha B'Av. Right? We all know that if we mourn properly on Tisha B'Av, it's so vital, right? And it could change everything, right? If we're makabel upon ourselves to mourn properly on Tisha B'Av, maybe we won't need it. Maybe we don't need the Tisha B'Av, and maybe we'll have the Gula. But to mourn on Tisha B'Av is so vital that we have to know. We have to know that. For example, right? On Tisha B'Av, I don't know. We have two big challenges. If you're a ben yeshiva, if you're still learning in yeshiva, right? So right away you think of ben zmanim, and your attempts to really feel the loss of the Beis Hamikdash are sort of wiped out, right? With your thinking of right after Tisha B'Av, Kiddush Levana, Ben Zmanim, and that's it. It's Ben Zmanim. Wow, vacation. And even if you're not sitting in yeshiva, right? But so the summertime is vacation. People take vacations, right? And they get in the vacation mode, right? So instead of thinking about Tisha B'Av, we're thinking about the vacation, right? That's our challenges to having all the distractions. That's all the distractions. Right? So I saw an article in this week's Mishpacha by a Reuven Lachter, right? And he says it's a little bit difficult to mourn for something so abstract, something we never experience. How can you mourn the loss of the Mikdash when we never really experienced it? So he says, very big Chiddush, that we're mourning what might have been. Hashem created the Olam. We created the world before the Chet HaEgel. I'm sorry. Before Adam Harishon's. Before Adam Rishon's Chet, right? Hashem created a world where there'd be no death. There'd be no death. Before Adam Harishon ate from the Eitz Hadas, there would have been no death. Man would be eternal. Man would live forever. And that was the design of Hashem. Hashem wanted an Adam that everything about him would be eternal forever. It's a whole different world, right? So he says we can mourn for the loss of this world. That it would be a different thing. He says if we take a lulav, we shake a lulav, and that's the impression, the meaning, and the impression on the world is forever, ever, eternal. It would be a totally different world. So that's something that he feels that we can mourn for. But I think we can do it even better than that. I think we can feel the loss of the Mikdash. And I think we have to try our utmost in every way to feel the loss. And I've explained it before, but I feel for my own self I'm going to do it again. And that is simply this. Today we know we're somewhat confused. We have a Yetzer Tov and a Yetzer Hara. Do we always know when it's the Yetzer Tov telling us to do something? Or perhaps it's the Yetzer Hara and we shouldn't be listening to it? Do we know that? Not always. It's very difficult sometimes because we don't feel clearly what is the Yetzer Tov, right? And sometimes we're certain, we're sure, this is the Yetzer Tov, and we see after we followed its advice and we got really messed up, we say, I guess it wasn't the Yetzer Tov. I guess I was fooled. What would be if we could walk into a place, right, and we would absolutely feel in our own selves, here is the Yetzer Tov, and here is the Yetzer Hara. We can have this experience that we can mamish feel right now. This is the Yetzer Tov, this is the Yetzer Hara, right? We can separate the two. I mean, it would be much, much easier to listen to the Yetzer Tov when we know this is the Yetzer Tov. It's like when we had the Mikdash, we could bring korbanos. Bringing korbanos is like Mamash standing so close to Hashem, like standing in the Kodesh Kodashim, close to Hashem to bring korbanos, right? And we could do that because we would be able to, we would feel this is the Yetzer Tov bringing the korban. We'd understand and appreciate it's a different world, a different world. That's what we lack now. We lack that clarity. We lack that experience. We lack the feeling this is the Yetzer Tov. And this is not. We don't have that experience now. It's all confusion. Right? And I think we can focus on that and feel that on Tisha B'Av, what we're mourning the lack of that clarity, the feeling that we're standing before Hashem and bringing His korbanos, and the feeling of the Yetzer Tov. We don't have that. We have confusion. We have uncertainty. That is something that I think we can all mourn on Tisha B'Av. And if we mourn on Tisha B'Av, if we makabel ourselves now, kabel upon ourselves now, to mourn the lack of the Beis Hamikdash, the lack of the feeling of closeness to Hashem, the lack of being one with the Borei Olam, right? If we really feel that now, then we don't need Tisha B'Av. You fellows can all join me in Yerushalayim, dancing and singing on Tisha B'Av with the coming of the Mashiach and the Binyan Bayis Shlishi B'Meiro B'Yameinu. B'ezras Hashem.
Amen. Rebbe.
Hashem should all give everybody an easy tinus, and if we're not successful in this, an easy tinus and the ability to appreciate our distance from Hashem and the loss of the Mikdash, and if we appreciate it, then at least by afterwards we can come to Yerushalayim and dance together with Bayis Shlishi.
Amen.
Shkoyach, Rebbe. Have a good day.
Meaningful. Easy tinus is easy. Meaningful is better.
Yes, have a meaningful tinus. Have a meaningful tinus.
Easy and meaningful tinus.
Easy and meaningful.
Oh, nothing's easy. Nothing's easy.
Yeah, okay. Shem should be with all of you, with all of us. Kol tov, shalom.